Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Motor Trade Radio podcast, powered by eBay Motors Group. You're joined by myself, Philip Nothard, and Curtis Hutchinson. And this week, we've got a podcast special for you, as we're delighted to welcome back a friend of the podcast, Dale Wyatt, who's Suzuki's GB's Director of Automobile. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning, guys. Nice to be back.
Yeah, definitely. I hope you're keeping well.
Very well, thank you very much. I'm a day away from a holiday, so I've got my D-Mob suit on.
Nothing wrong with that.
Dale, it's great to have you back on the show. It's been a little while, so we've got a fair bit of catching up to do with you. Now, you've actually been very busy over the last few weeks because you've only recently completed a national roadshow, which has seen you travelling around the UK, holding town hall meetings with the network. Can you give us a flavour of some of the themes and outcomes from the roadshow?
Yeah, I can. It was interesting. I'd been working from home for a while and wanted to get close to the business, so I did a series of regional dinners. And what struck me was that the pandemic changed the mindset of employees and owners. Everybody feels different about work as a result of the pandemic. And our dealers are having real challenges in terms of recruitment, motivation, and training staff and keeping staff. So that was the first thing that struck me. And the second thing was that not only did employees feel differently about business, employers felt differently as well. It changed all of us. I think the other thing was that COVID-19 sped up digital processes. And then the pool market we're seeing today took us back a step. So we marched forward and then got a bit lazy off of the back of how easy it was to make money out of used cars. So the key message for me really was let's get our habits clean. Let's get back to doing the basics brilliantly. Let's manage our order banks. And I reminded dealers that all ships lift on a rising tide. And I was getting a bit irritated by a lot of backslapping across the industry around people having record results and not being clear about what their contribution was to it. And the results were driven by the environment rather than the dealer's performance. So my message was the tide's turning. We've got omni-channel, new technology, inflation, agency, and a lot of factors moving against us. We needed to have a plan. So that was the purpose and takeout from the dinners that we did.
That's interesting, Dale. How did that actually go down with the dealers? Because as you say, last year we did see record results and across the big dealer groups, and that would have been reflected in some of the smaller owner-driver businesses.
Yeah. I think all I wanted the industry or our dealers to recognise was that we were in a distorted period last year. We had used cars appreciating at 30%, and it was difficult to not make money during that period. And that if you took actions to maximise your opportunity as a business and delivered them, well done. Continue slapping yourself on the back. But if you did nothing, just rode the crest of a wave, don't congratulate yourself, because that wave's about to get a bit flat as recession moves towards us.
And was this also an opportunity to talk to dealers about the direction from the brand, what's coming up from Suzuki in terms of products and marketing and all those things?
Yeah, we wanted to do it in two phases. We did a series of regional meetings to cover the operational elements. And then we did a brand immersion event to take people through our future strategy. So we broke it down into operational matters and the future. And our strategy is called Together Towards Tomorrow, and it's called Good Different. And I shared with you a copy of the audio of an ad that we showed to our dealers, which was an example of everything we don't want to be in the world of marketing. I think you've got there to play for something, Curtis.
Yeah, so let's take a listen to that, Dale.
Hear that? That's the road whispering your name. So embrace the unknown. Fuel your senses. Imagine what a car can be. Then reimagine what you imagined. Be the destination. Experience a new kind of experience. This isn't a car. It's a state of mind. Generic Motors present the new Cliche Model 3 GTX. Take on the road and win.
So Dale, just explain, what does be the destination, experience the experience mean then?
It sounds
Well,
like
consumer.
it's Eurotrash. It's everything I don't want to be. Can you imagine 3 guys in a pub talking about the new car, and one of the guys saying to them, "Why did you buy that car?" And he said, I want to experience the winds of change." Can you imagine that? And we use language in marketing that we'd never use in real life, and it irritates me. And I wanted to use it as an example of what we wanted to be the opposite of. We want to be good, different. We want to be straightforward, and we want to have some compelling messages that give customers a real reason to buy our products.
And I mean, whilst we're talking about the network, can you bring us up to date with sort of current size, growth, reduction plans, etc., and what your thoughts are against the big word at the minute, which is agency model, which we know that some dealers will be operating potentially as an agency for a different OEM, while still operating a Suzuki dealership with yourself.
Yeah, I knew you tempted me into the agency conversation.
We couldn't have. I mean, I'm an avid connection with you on social media, Dale, and we couldn't have you on without going there, could we? Really?
No, happy to go there. So, Suzuki perspective, we've got happy dealers, happy customers, and happy employees. We've got a healthy order bank, and a simple business model, and a cultural contract that keeps us on track. So we're doing pretty well. My fear is that the world's moving against us as an industry. We're approaching a recession and things are going to get a bit tougher. And we could have a period where things become a bit more challenging. And there could be a lag between us experiencing the effects. We've all got big order banks. And I think we'll be okay for the next quarter. It's Q1 that I'm worried about. I think we just start thinking about how you communicate and motivate customers in a recessionary period. So that's where my mind is at with Suzuki at the moment. But just picking up on agency, it's not for me, guys. You know that. I think agency puts the dealer last. I think it gives the dealer the crumbs from the table. And my view is that I'm a passionate supporter of dealers, and I think the dealer is the physical embodiment of the brand. And a brand is a promise after all. And that promise is either broken or built on based upon the first interaction between customer and dealer. And I really worry, guys. I think under agency, the customer will become a KPI, a bonus payment, rather than something that the dealer feels connected with. And I worry that dealers will look to the manufacturer to own the customer whilst they own the standard. And I think that's a risky strategy.
And just, I mean, you before I sort of expand on that agency conversation, but obviously, you talk about that, you're more concerned about sort of Q1 2023 than you are sort of Q4 this year. And, I suppose that's really, there's a lot of change coming before the end of this year, as we know, and there's a lot of, known unknowns at the minute, as we reference. But you think that is, it's going to be a challenge in Q4. We know that, we're close enough to understand that, but actually you're more concerned about what 2023 presents to the network.
Yeah, I think so. I think during 2023 we'll see supply beginning to return at the same time as demand wanes. So I think we could see the two elements interacting against each other, and we could see those with supply looking to get more aggressive in the market, whilst those without supply are looking to protect their margin. So we could end up with a disconnected, unorderly marketplace. And I think it could catch us short because we've all got big order banks, but we're taking less orders than we were. So I think it could creep up on us unless we take some action now.
And how's the supply been for Suzuki this year? I mean, how have you fared with supply through these challenging times? And what are you thinking in terms of supply through the rest of this year into next year? Because we're starting to hear muted comments coming out of some of the OEMs that supply is now starting to speed up a little bit, but there's still challenges out there in terms of material shortages and things like this. What's it like in the world of Suzuki around supply and manufacturing at the minute?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're mirroring the same challenges as the industry. I'm running at about 50% of my capability at the moment. Suzuki up and running in a good year is worth 40,000 cars, and I've got a run rate of about 20,000, so I've got about half the cars that I need or could sell. And And it's a combination of problems. You've got the original problem was the semiconductor issues, and then there was component supply, and now there's logistics, and then you've got manufacturers looking to retool and prepare for EV. So I think we've got a supply constrained marketplace for the next 18 months. I think it will get better, but I think it'll be September before everybody's up and running at pace. September next year.
And following on from that, Dale, you posted recently on LinkedIn about this lasting impact of the current supply chain and what that will mean in the future. And as you've outlined there, the disruptions caused by COVID, the chip shortage, component shortages. But you actually talked about how push and pull are key elements and question whether OEMs would actually slip back into the old ways of doing things. Can you talk us through your thoughts? Because you actually suggest a middle way, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think there's this view that the push and pull is good versus bad, good versus evil, and it's not a linear solution. I think in any environment we need a hybrid solution where we can flip from push to pull, depending on where we're going. Because in a push market or in a push environment, you still have to plan for the cars. You have to order the stock in advance, and second guessing the size of the market, what the real market opportunity will be in 6 to 12 months, which is what manufacturers have to do, is a real challenge. And the one thing that's certain is nobody will get it right. So there'll always be an element of push, an element of pull. So for me, Curtis, it's more about the tactics and the behaviors rather than about good versus evil, good and bad.
And as a brand, you are potentially more nimble than some of the big OEMs because you can think and act locally, can't you, Dale?
Yeah, I can. I think I'm one of the luckier MDs in that I'm empowered to make decisions, and I haven't got a European centre or a Japanese boss crawling all over me. So I am empowered to make decisions, but that doesn't make the decision making process any easier, guys.
No, I can imagine not. And talking about decisions and in terms of EV, we've got OEMs transitioning more of their sort of ranges to full electric, and Suzuki at the minute have taken the approach to electric and the reasons behind sort of electric moving to a sort of a hybrid as standard strategy at the minute.
Exactly. Yeah, we think for our customer base, there's a stepping stone between internal combustion engine and EV. We think the average Suzuki customer is 1.5 to 2 cars away from an EV. We think our customers want to save money and want to get better fuel economy. They want to do their bit for the environment. We don't think they're ready to make that EV step yet. So for us, hybrid is a good stepping stone.
And you're looking at what? Sorry, and you're looking at 2025 for the first EV to the network, are you? Is that where you're at?
Exactly, yeah. There'll be a full range of EVs that start in 2025. And I view EV as a bit like one of these gigantic yacht races where all of the boats are circling, waiting for the starting gun. And I think there'll be a real tipping point as we've approached that 2027, 2028 period. The forecast currently shows that 7 out of 10 cars in 2023 will still be internal combustion engines. So whilst I'm not trying to resist the tide, I think EV en masse is still a couple of years away.
And do you think this is giving you that bit of time to understand? Because the one thing is clear, and it's unlike the combustion engine where you've got decades of legacy and understanding of that. The EV sector is moving very quickly in terms of technology into it. We know that. We've seen that. There are even talks of that solid state battery and things like that. Do you think this just gives Suzuki that time to step back, watch what's happening, understand the direction of change and technology that you can move a little bit more strategically towards it rather than trying to be the first?
I think so. I think there is first mover advantage, but I think we'll be launching with second generation technology, whilst a lot of brands are still living with the legacy of their first generation products. So hopefully that will give us a competitive advantage. And I think there's a real opportunity for EV and small cars. There's nobody offering a small value for money EV at the moment. EVs are predominantly bigger products. So I think when we start looking at EV for small cars and EV for the value sector, that'd be an interesting challenge for other brands to try and cope with.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because you say a lot of the brands, because of the cost effectively of today in the market of producing an EV, it's not really that cost effective for doing it in a small super mini city car environment, is it? And that's one of the problems, which actually, like you say, giving that bit of time with yourself, plus the brand and the sort of market that you represent, might give you that advantage to be able to move into that space that there will be demand for that city car super mini market.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the last calculation I saw said that the premium to electrify a car over the internal combustion engine was £10,000. And for a small car buyer, a £10,000 premium over their internal combustion engine is a lot of money.
And staying with your customers, Dale, your customer base, and we've said this on the show before, because we look at the satisfaction surveys, but your customer base is very loyal and very happy, which means you always tend to do well in the customer surveys. Can you take us through the latest biannual UK Customer Satisfaction Index survey? Because that's actually across all retail sectors. It's not purely automotive, but Suzuki had a very strong showing there, along with other brands, the John Lewis, Tesco Mobile, M&S. So tell us about that.
I'm so glad you asked, Chris. I can cry about it. I mean, of all the things I'm proud about in my career, it's the level of customer satisfaction we've delivered. The Institute of Customer Service measure customer satisfaction twice a year. We've been top 3 for 7 of the last 8 surveys, and 5 of the last 8 we've been number 1. And we've been a top 20 company in all sectors 5 out of the last 8 surveys, so I'm really proud of that. And it's a testament to our dealers, and it's a testament to the job that we do with our customers. So for me, whilst being number 1 is great, being consistently good is much more important.
And why are Suzuki customers so happy, so content, and so willing to make their feelings known in the various satisfaction surveys? What actually drives them to do that?
Well, I think the first thing is the product doesn't go wrong. So the product piece is bulletproof. But I think that customer satisfaction is a combination of core process and personality. If you can have both of them together, it can work. And we work with a thing that I call achievable frame setting. And often when people plan customer satisfaction strategies, they try to add something to the service. So you bring your car in for a service and you get a Wyatt air freshener, or you get a Wyatt pack of mints. And next time you bring your car in for a service, there's no air freshener, and you're dissatisfied. And an example is courtesy cars. No dealer in the land has as many courtesy cars as it has service customers. It's a lottery. So some days you win, some days you lose. Yeah. So we don't guarantee courtesy cars. We guarantee to resolve an alternative transport solution for you, which could be a collection and delivery, could be a courtesy car, could be a taxi. We'll resolve your transport problems, but not promise a courtesy car. Another example would be we guarantee to wash and vacuum your car when you bring it in for a service, but not valet it. So I think by being clear about what it is we're going to do and doing it, we frame the customer's expectations, which I think is a key part of our success. And then overlay that with nice people, guys, and you've got a great result.
Yeah, and that's actually an important point, isn't it, about not over-promising and under-delivering, because that's what customers remember when it is under-delivered.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about delivering the 3 10s. If you're 10 out of 10 in all of these 3 areas, every customer that could buy or wanted a service would do. And they're the product, the person, and the company. So would you buy a great product for a person you didn't like and a company you didn't trust, guys? The answer is no, isn't it? Yeah. So we always encourage our dealers to focus on the people, the company, and the product, and tell their brand story.
And with that in mind, I mean, we touched on it earlier, and the challenging period we find ourselves in the sort of the final months of this year and what to expect going into 2023. And thinking of customers, and how is Suzuki, you as a brand, helping to sort of support the customers and tackle some of the challenges, whether that's the cost of living, inflation, interest rates, etc. But that might be just thinking twice about changing their new or used vehicle at the minute.
It's a real challenge. I've just set up a working group in the business, which I call customer centricity in a recessionary period, which is about thinking about how we can make it easy for people to buy from us and own our products. I think we've got some work to do to think about how we meet customers' needs during difficult times. So it's a great question. And if you come back to me in a month's time, I'll have finished my work and I'll have the answer for you guys.
I mean, I suppose the question, it gets back that you are, you have kind of answered it, that you are doing something about it. That's probably the key. You understand the problem, don't you? You understand the challenge, and you're trying to obviously look at ways of Suzuki working with their dealer network and your partners in sort of trying to help overcome some of the challenges in this that they face.
Exactly. Customers have changed. I saw a quote the other day that said, I'll buy from any merchant on Amazon as long as they have 5 stars in next day delivery. And that's kind of where our customers are at now, aren't they? I don't need next day delivery, but I want it. And 4.5 stars is good, but I want 5. So kind of trying to meet that customer shortcutting process of selecting who they want to buy things from and supporting their needs through difficult times, I think are the 2 things that we need to kind of square going into the next year.
Which leads us on neatly to the final question, Dale. What's actually next for Suzuki as we go into the final quarter and as we start to look forwards to Q1, which you outlined at the beginning? There's uncertainty, talk of recession, but what's actually next for Suzuki? What's on the horizon for the rest of the year, this year and going into next year?
Well, we've created a new vision for our brand, which is to be the trusted car brand for those who are proud to be different. The trusted car brand for those who are proud to be different, which is 12 words in 4 themes. So I've given you the words. The themes are around trusted for those proud and different. And we're trying to think about how we can be good different. And I've spent the last 6 months getting the business ready. So I've got new hires. I've got people with job titles I don't understand, let alone skills I don't understand. I've got a data scientist. I've got logistics and brand managers and digital managers and CRM managers, business intelligence people, management information specialists, internal auditors, a whole suite of people with new job titles helping think of the future. And we've reviewed every supplier. So we've got logistics training, composite marketing, facilities. And I'm now ready to launch. I'm a man with a plan. And the plan is to grow the brand, focus on the customer, become one team with one dream, and to turn browsers into buyers, customers into advocate, and to focus on 3 mountains. The 3 mountains are called attract, convert, and retain, because they're the 3 areas we need to think about in our business. How do we attract customers? How do we convert them? And how do we keep them? So for me, it's about recognizing that everyone's busy and thinking about what the things you can do in your spare time. And I've challenged the business to not kick stones, but move mountains, because it's easy for us to kind of get caught up in the day-to-day and find ourselves stone kicking rather than climbing one of those mountains, which are attract, convert, and retain. So we've set upon a cultural change for the Suzuki family, really, which we call good different, which aims to differentiate ourselves from the category and position ourselves as the good guys. So that's my job, to try and deliver that.
Yeah, well, that's some plan, Dale. we wish you well.
And with this, I mean, with this, Dale, I mean, we talk about customer satisfaction, but you've obviously, in terms of that dealer satisfaction, you have that. Have they? I mean, I'm presuming got the answer to this, but they're fully behind your vision and supporting you, and because I presume that's part of what your roadshow was and the dinners and things that you've been out trying to work with your dealer network on.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, what I said to the guys, I want to be shoulder to shoulder, no chink of light, the envy of the industry. I want people to look at us as a role model for partnership between dealers, manufacturers, suppliers, employees, everybody facing forward. And I see it as a case of us all renewing our vows. If you want to follow another route, you have a choice to make. But I'm going to lead the business this way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep marching north. If you want to go east, that's great. But north is the way I'm going. And I think Suzuki as a brand is different. And my job is to make sure we celebrate being good different and get that different message over to our customers.
And when people say, fix the roof whilst the sun is shining, you're down 50% on volume. That's the point. But I think you are clearly demonstrating that point where, the volume will start to return, the market will start to recover in time. But at the minute, you are putting these foundations in place, having a clear plan, having clear strategies, and working with what you want for the future of Suzuki.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's about reminding people that we have a demand problem rather than a supply problem rather than a demand problem. So demand is healthy. We could easily sell 10,000 more Suzukis, and with some marketing effort and some promotion effort, we could sell 40,000. So for me, it's about finding a middle ground, something that's profitable and customer centric that supports the whole business. And at 30,000, I can support a network of about 150 dealers, make them profitable, and keep them happy. And that's my job.
No mean feat of a job, though, is it, Dale?
Yeah, but I think in times of adversity, I always think about how I'd feel if someone else was doing it.
Yeah.
I'd be jealous. So the day I stop feeling jealous of somebody else doing my job, that's the day I'll go find another one.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. It's been a long while to get you back on the podcast, but we know the reasons why. You've been a little bit busy setting out all these working groups and your tours of the UK with your dealer network. So, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back on, and obviously wish you luck because you've got a lot on your plate. But I think right at the start here we said about this clear vision, and you've certainly got that, and you've got a network behind you, and as you say, side by side with you, working on this. So, thanks for coming back on, Dale.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to come and talk to you guys.
Yeah, no, many thanks for joining us, Dale, and many thanks to you for listening today. That's all for now. You've been listening to the weekly Motor Trade Radio podcast powered by eBay Motors Group. Many thanks for joining us for all the chat that matters. We're back next weekend. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.